All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of aMillionortheMoon, and this one's going to be a very interesting one because in this video, I want to talk about my plan in 2022 to become a cryptocurrency millionaire. I want to be taking 10,000 real dollars and investing in the space and see if I can turn it into $1 million in the year 2022. But before I talk about that, I want to review my approach to crypto in 2021. In fact, I want to talk about the video I put out the first day of 2021, I believe, talking about my top 3 altcoins for the year of 2021. So I want to review how well I did in that video, where I went right, where I went wrong, how to improve and course correct moving forward, and my top 3 altcoins for attempting to turn $10,000 to $1 million in the year 2022. So folks, if you like the sound of that, do me and you a favor, like and subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads, and without further ado, let's delve into it. All right, folks, so let's take a look at my top 3 picks for 2021 and review how well I did. So I'm going to spare you guys watching this video and just let you guys know that my top 3 picks in order were Ethereum, VeChain, and Synthetics SNX. Looking at Ethereum, I first started talking about how this was a top pick for 2021 at $760 US. At the time I'm recording, this call is currently up 387%, and from when I called it all-time high, up 550%. So not too bad, folks. And again, we're gonna go into lessons learned and things to improve upon moving forward. On VeChain here, I first started shelling it just under 2 cents. So from 2 cents to the time of recording, VeChain is currently up 322% in roughly a year, and from that recording to all-time high, it is up just under 1,300%. So I'd say that's a pretty good call for VeChain. Now, Synthetics is actually down just about 26%, 27-28% at the time of recording. So Synthetics is actually down from well over a year ago. Terrible call in my opinion. This went far worse than what I thought it could do. But, you know, to give myself a little bit of credit, from when I made the video to all-time high, Synthetics did pump 281%, but is down quite significantly from, roughly a year after I recorded that video. So folks, in terms of lessons learned, where I went right, where I went wrong, I think I got a few key things right and a few key things wrong. One of the most important takeaways from going through this 2021 cycle is I've learned to truly appreciate the importance of narratives and short-term sponsorship of particular niches within crypto. I don't think it makes much sense anymore to simply hold through the length of an entire Bitcoin parabolic cycle. With new money coming in, I believe the space is changed dramatically, where I think it makes much more sense to have a little bit more of an active management role in one's portfolio rather than just hold the length of a cycle and hope for the best kind of approach. So folks, one of the key takeaways I've found from this bull run is the importance of the Bitcoin daily RSI and how uncannily well it works when calling what's happening with Bitcoin. And I'm very happy how easy it is to call what's going on with Bitcoin with the daily RSI, because it's very easy for me to explain. Folks, moving forward, I think keeping a keen eye on what's going on with the daily RSI with Bitcoin is one of the major factors one needs to consider when actively managing a portfolio moving forward, which is what I intend to do. So looking at daily RSI trend lines, breakouts, and divergences is what you need to know, and one of the most helpful things you can look out for understanding what's going on with breakouts. So let me say that again. Trend lines on the daily RSI and divergences is what you need to look out for. What are divergences? Divergences is when you have higher high in price action paired with lower highs in RSI. Whenever you have higher highs in price action paired with lower highs in RSI, that's telling you that the uptrend is running out of strength. And then once you have those lower highs in RSI paired with trend reversal, bearish trend reversal with our first lower low and lower high here, you see how we keep getting higher highs, higher lows, and our first lower high, lower low. So that trend reversal paired with that weakness led to that sell-off. There were signs here, folks. There's always signs. Just like how there's signs at the top of a bearish trend reversal, here at the lows, there were signs of bullish trend reversal, where we had lower lows in price action paired with higher highs in RSI, that was bullish divergence. And if we drew a trend line here on our daily RSI, we can see that at this heart here, as soon as the daily RSI broke out, that lines up exactly to the bullish breakout with Bitcoin. And we had, from that RSI breakout, a 100% price rally with Bitcoin. So the daily RSI, both in divergences and trend breaking, is extremely important to follow and understand what's going on with Bitcoin. But let's find more examples here, folks. Here we had higher highs in price action once again, paired with lower highs in RSI. Clear sign of weakness, had a sell-off, but as soon as we broke out bullishly out of this trend line on the daily RSI based off these top peaks, well, that's when we had our rally here, where if we measure from that breakout on the trend line, we had a 65% rally here with Bitcoin. And just as over here as well, higher high in price action, but with lower high in RSI, sell-off came. So folks, there's always signs of weakness at the tops. There's always signs of strength at the bottoms. Looking at the daily RSI has been absolutely key for Bitcoin here as well, where we had lower lows in price action paired with several drives of daily bullish divergence. We had a breakout here. We're just coming back down to retest this red trend line on the RSI. If we break down from this red trend line, if we put in a lower low in price action below 46,000, then I would be worried about the short term with Bitcoin. But as long as we really maintain 46,000, then I think there's some degree of hope for the short term. So folks, I bring up these daily RSI divergences and trendline breakouts as an example of one of the tools in my tool belt to better actively manage a portfolio moving forward, because the space is changing, the nature of these quote-unquote cycles are changing. Still an open question to whether at the time of recording we're in a bull market or bear market. There's very good reasons on both sides of the argument. So I think a little bit more of active management makes a lot more sense moving forward, folks, to protect your P&L. And the daily RSI is one of the most important things to look out for moving forward. As well, whenever you're trying to find when an uptrend will end, especially a parabolic uptrend with whatever chart you're looking at, find a moving average that holds as support the length of the impulse. And as soon as we start to spend time below it and get rejected, break below it, come back up to retest and get rejected, that's typically another sign that the uptrend is over. And one historically very important moving average for Bitcoin has been the 50-day simple moving average, held as support throughout our parabolic uptrend. As soon as we fell below it, came back to retest, it got rejected, beginning of the massive sell-off. So folks, there's always signs: trend reversal, momentum, strength, plus the breaking of support here on our moving average. There were plenty of signs that there was weakness in the market. And again, folks, following Bitcoin is important because Bitcoin is the leading indicator for the rest of the market. Bitcoin affects Ethereum, which affects the vast majority, if not the entirety, the vast majority of the rest of the cryptocurrency space. So following Bitcoin, when we see those signs of weakness, is what I'm going to take into consideration moving forward and taking profits on my altcoin positions after rallies, then signs of weakness. So following these signs, folks, divergences and then trend breakouts on the daily RSI will be one of the things I use to time taking profits on my altcoin positions moving forward when Bitcoin is in these overbought regions on the daily RSI. Now, another thing as well, all throughout this price action here, I saw tons of narratives come and go, folks. We saw here back in August, this was DeFi summer. We saw the NFT hype wave come and go. We saw centralized competitors to Ethereum such as Solana and BNB come into the space. Now we're experiencing the metaverse hype wave. There's been plenty of niches, plenty of narratives in crypto. So moving forward, it makes more sense to be paying attention to those narratives. What has market sponsorship? Folks, market sponsorship is what the market believes has hype behind it, has speculative backing behind it. That's what you got to look out for, because something like synthetics, which is one of the leaders in derivatives, I do believe has a good long-term future. But due to regulatory uncertainty, it lost market sponsorship. It lost the backing of speculators, and that's why we saw this terrible price performance over the last year. So following the mini boom and bust cycles with Bitcoin and narratives in crypto is extremely important to keep in mind moving forward. And I think that's where I fucked up a bit with this last year, not actively managing my portfolio as much as perhaps I should, and then also keeping in mind the narratives with crypto. Now, where I think I went right, I think I went right on betting on layer one smart contracts, because folks, the demand for throughput in this space is infinite pretty much, and it's constantly growing. So things like Ethereum will forever have demand, in my opinion. That's why we've seen things like Ethereum, Binance, Solana, Cardano, Polkadot, Avalanche, Polygon, Crypto.com, all these layer one smart contract blockchains. Well, Polygon isn't. It's layer two scaling solution. Point being, folks, the reason why all these protocols have taken off is because the demand for throughput is so high, and so that's likely to continue. So moving forward, betting on layer one smart contract blockchains, I think has been a winning strategy and is likely to continue being one because the demand for throughput is so high. As well, something else I want to keep in mind, scaling solutions. Polygon did absolutely amazing. It was actually my first 100x investment. Bought Polygon at 2 cents, sold it at roughly $2. So folks, I think it's just the beginning for Polygon. I think Polygon definitely has a long-term future, but there's many other scalability solutions coming. Sharding, optimistic rollups, all kinds of different rollups. I think moving forward, it really makes sense to keep an eye on different scaling solutions for Ethereum, layer one smart contract blockchains, and what could be up-and-coming Ethereum competitors. So folks, with all that being said, let's get to the good stuff. Like and subscribe. This channel is called aMillionortheMoon for a reason. Me and Messin, this guy over here that we see in that Liquid Loans interview, we both started the channel to try and achieve financial freedom. We told ourselves, hey, you know, it would be nice if we could become millionaires through cryptocurrency, but what do we do if we achieve that? Well, then after that, you can go to the moon, I suppose. So that's how we came up with the name, aMillionortheMoon. And in that effort, folks, I want to try and turn $10,000, real dollars, into $1 million in the year 2022. So I want to talk about my top 3 picks to try and achieve that goal moving forward. Folks, my top 3 picks for 2022, turning $10,000 to $1 million, are quite simple. I am going all in on the Richard Heart Pulse Chain, PulseX, HEX ecosystem for one very important reason, and one reason alone, which I believe there is a very good thesis, a very good argument as to why this ecosystem has the best potential I'm aware of for price appreciation in the year 2022. Folks, for those who don't know, this is HEX. HEX did a 10,000x price growth in roughly 2 years. For those who don't know, the whole point about HEX is to monetize the time value of money. And what that basically means is that HEX pays you in HEX terms for staking and removing and locking up circulating supply. Where the way HEX works is that you can stake HEX and earn yield. That's the whole purpose and the whole rationale for holding the coin, and you can stake it from 1 day all the way to 5,555 days, which is over 15 years. And when you stake it, you lock it up, and you cannot remove it until your stake term is over, or halfway through your stake term. If you try to remove it early, you get penalized on your principal. But if you've served half your stake term, you can remove your principal, and you'll get hit on your interest. All right, folks. So the whole point about HEX is to incentivize price appreciation through artificial scarcity through staking, where something like Bitcoin achieves its price appreciation simply through having a few coins out there, 21 million. But HEX achieves that price appreciation not through scarcity of coins, because there's, I believe, like 650 some odd billion HEX out there, but it achieves that scarcity and price appreciation through a different mechanic, where while there is 650 billion HEX out there, the vast majority of it is held by an origin address, which is basically Richard Heart, which will never enter circulating supply, never has been sold, just kind of sits there, and the rest of it is held by users and is staked and locked up and cannot be unstaked until the staking term is over. The average staking length for HEX is, I believe, like 6 years at this point, folks. What other ecosystem are you aware of where people are locking up their funds for, on average, 6 years? So when you lock up your funds, you get paid interest in HEX. The average interest rate is around 37-38%. But there's a catch, where the longer and bigger you stake, the more interest you can earn in HEX terms. But not only that, it also forever gets more expensive to get T-shares, and T-shares is how you get paid in HEX terms. So because the whole point of HEX is to stake it and earn interest in HEX, you have a market who's forever incentivized to chase the value of staking yield. And since it always gets more expensive to get T-shares, you basically have price action in a market that's forever incentivized to chase the value of something that's going up. That is huge. That is why this thing did a 10,000x in less than 2 years. And so the founder of HEX, Referral, is now coming out with Pulse Chain and PulseX. Pulse Chain is very simple. It's a fork of Ethereum. It's copying the entire system state of Ethereum. It's taking Ethereum, switching it to proof of stake, and making it faster and cheaper. It's basically, Pulse Chain is basically beating Ethereum 2.0 to the market. And folks, we've seen what Cardano could do. Polkadot, Avalanche, Algorand, Zilliqa, Elrond, all these layer 1 smart contract blockchains, Ethereum competitors have seen hundreds of X price growth over the years, and I do think Pulse Chain has a very good chance of doing something very similar, if not even better, because the friction for Ethereum users to go over to Pulse Chain is next to nothing. It's extremely easy because Pulse Chain is a literal copy of Ethereum, just change some of the parameters as to how the nodes and validators and the tokenomics work in the consensus mechanism. So, folks, the sacrifice phase where one could participate in getting Pulse Chain coins is now over. But do not fear, we have PulseX. PulseX will be the main decentralized exchange on Pulse Chain that has deflationary tokenomics, where 21% of every fee is taken and burned, but not just burned. It's first you take that fee, buy PulseX on the open market, and then burn it. So you're compounding the effect of supply removal and adding 24/7 buy pressure on the PulseX chart. So folks, I have $10,000 to turn into $1 million in the year 2022. I will be taking all those $10,000 in real life dollars and sacrificing it for PulseX. And when Pulse Chain goes live, my plan is to trade the majority of that PulseX for Pulse Chain and have probably a 60-40 split, 70-30 split, 60-70% being Pulse Chain, 30-40% being PulseX, something like that. And Richard has also made rumblings that one of the reasons you want to participate in PulseX is because the bridge where Ethereum users can bring in liquidity from Ethereum into Pulse Chain won't be built out until after trading is live on Pulse Chain. Meaning, if you want Pulse Chain, you could do it by getting into PulseX. Then when Pulse Chain goes live, just simply trade your PulseX for Pulse Chain, which I do prefer Pulse Chain personally myself. And you'll be able to do that before non-sacrifice participants have the chance to even buy Pulse Chain. Now, folks, in terms of why I'm so confident in going all in on PulseX, it's because, in my opinion, PulseX has the best tokenomics of any decentralized exchange I've ever seen, and what's likely to be one of the biggest up-and-coming competitors to Ethereum, that being Pulse Chain. So, if we try and kind of contemplate, theorize, speculate as to the kind of price performance PulseX could do, well, let's take a look at what a similar competitor has done. PancakeSwap. PancakeSwap is the main decentralized exchange of BNB, which is a highly scalable, centralized competitor to Ethereum. If we look at the all-time low to all-time high, PancakeSwap did roughly a 230x price growth from all-time low to all-time high. So, if PancakeSwap could do a 230x, what could a similar version of PancakeSwap with better tokenomics do from all-time low to all-time high? Folks, to get from $10,000 to $1 million, that's a 100x. We've seen protocols similar to PulseX do a 230x. So given that PulseX has better tokenomics, what could PulseX do? Could it do more than 230x? I don't know, but I'm betting it will probably do pretty well. Same with Pulse Chain, folks. Again, lessons learned from 2021. One of the biggest narratives, one of the biggest niches in crypto that performed the best was layer 1 smart contract blockchains, Ethereum competitors, because the demand for throughput is so high, and Pulse Chain is very likely to be the next major Ethereum competitor. Folks, faster, cheaper, fee-burning Ethereum, deflationary from the start. The tokenomics are absolutely amazing. So to make things even more clear, and to summarize here, lessons learned, bet on narratives, bet on layer one smart contract blockchains. They're likely to have demand, and they're the most well established and proven to have longevity in this space. Pulse Chain is the next major Ethereum competitor, in my opinion. PulseX is our next chance to get involved in this ecosystem. The PulseX sacrifice phase, where you can participate and get allocation and get these coins later on, is likely to start before the end of the year 2021. So I will be going all in on PulseX. Once Pulse Chain trading goes live, I plan on trading the majority of my PulseX for Pulse Chain, between 60 to 70%. I'm not entirely decided at the moment. And then I will mostly sit on those two coins for a good while. And I think over the next year, I have a decent shot of seeing 100x price appreciation. But we'll see how it goes. Ultimately, folks, like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Because while none of what we do is financial advice, and I'm definitely not a financial advisor, folks, on this channel, we are trying to achieve financial freedom in cryptocurrency, and hopefully share our journey and help others learn along the way. So make sure you stay tuned, like and subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Plenty of ways to support the channel down in the description below. Go follow us on Twitter, go become a Discord member. There's a link for everything down in the description below. For the love of God, follow and click all the things. YouTube likes it when you click things. YouTube likes it when you click buttons. Until next time, folks, take care.